Okay, so the character of Indiana Jones and the Indy franchise have an enduring worldwide popularity. Why do you think that is?
I think that's because the films themselves are such powerful entertainment. I've said in the past that I think Indiana Jones is more about movies than it is about archaeology. It's about the fun you can have at a movie. It's about the emotional exercise you can get at a movie. And though we've made 4 in the past, this one has an air of finality because it's my last Indiana Jones movie, and I wanted it to deal with the issue of age, of his advancing age, and what age has taken away from his capacity, his mental energy, his physical prowess, and put him in contest with somebody, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is out to swindle him. And so there's that the mental wrestling going on between these two characters as well.
Great. Phoebe, I guess you can both speak to this, but we'll start with Phoebe. What was it like for you guys to meet each other for the first time?
It was really fun.
Yeah, we met in Jim Mangle's office towards the end of the day, and
I was quite nervous.
And I was quite thrilled that finally working with an actress that's taller than I am.
This is a big thing for him.
Yeah, it was a big thing for me.
Actually, when I opened the door, he said, "My God, you're so tall."
Yeah.
And I think you cried, didn't you? You cried with relief.
I would have cried had I known what I was about to go through. I would have cried, but I didn't. I was thrilled because, I mean, I had seen Phoebe in Fleabag. I was aware of the range of her skill and talent, and I was thrilled that we had a story that attracted her interest, and that I would have her as the partner in this film.
And I had grown up with Harrison Ford. The movies that, I mean, Witness, The Fugitive, Blade Runner. I was walking behind that door were all of those movies when I was meeting Harrison. So it was a hugely exciting and quite intimidating moment. But like I say, the moment the door opened and I saw Harrison, he did just go, "Hey!" And from then on, I'd say we became firm friends. But I'll leave it open to Harrison to see what he says about that.
I feel so, and I hope so. Yes.
So with that, obviously you guys have great chemistry together. What was it like filming together, working on set together?
It was a barrel of fun. There's something about, I mean, there are a lot of different elements to the relationship between us, and there are moments of seriousness, but there's also moments that the audience is meant to enjoy the banter between them, the contest between them. And I think it was well written, and I was delighted by having someone as adroit as she is with comedy and the mixture of comedy and real, true emotion to navigate this story with.
Phoebe, Harrison kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit about Helena and your relationship with Indiana Jones and how you guys interact in the film?
Helena is Indy's goddaughter. He last saw her when she was 12, and he was very good friends with her father, who died not long after he last saw her. And she comes catapulting back into his life at a sort of, not even a crossroads, just sort of a cul-de-sac in his life, and comes back with she comes through the door with the joyful history of memories they had when she was young and he came to the house and visited her father. And she comes and tries to infect him with the idea of going on another adventure. But she is slightly more nefarious than she turns out, than she wants him to believe at the beginning. And she has her own agenda. And they end up going on an adventure, but not the one that she proffered to him in the beginning. She's a mercurial little rascal.
Okay, for both of you guys, what were your biggest challenges in making this film?
Would you like to start?
Well, not smiling all the time. Well, that was a note. Seriously, it was a note that Jim had to give me all the time. Just stop smiling. You're meant to be frightened. But I was like, I know, but he's wearing the hat. So that was a challenge. But also, it's a very physical experience and a very physical job. And even though it was challenging, it was such a joy to be able to, throw yourself at that and be able to keep your character intact while you're being sort of flung around a set. That was a challenge. But what's your answer to that question?
What's my answer to that question? Well, I'm surrounded by
idiots.
No, a fantastic group of actors. Mads Mikkelsen, Phoebe, all of the characters. Ethan. I mean, they're all so vivid and exciting. My greatest challenge was to keep up with them. Actually, to keep up with all of them, or try to keep up with all of them, and to maintain, the standards that they were setting.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, so last question is for Harrison. Obviously, this is your final film as Indiana Jones. How does it feel to say goodbye to the character after more than 40 years?
Well, it's both sad and happy. I mean, I'm gratified that I had this wonderful opportunity to work with this character and these kinds of films with some regularity over the last 40 years. But I'm ready I'm ready to conclude the story of the character. I think it's appropriate that we do have a story about Indiana Jones, which confronts his age, which confronts his mental state when we first meet him, and allows us to see him just picked up and brushed off and back in action one more time. And I'm really gratified that we found, a script, a story, and then when Stephen brought Jim in, I thought that was fantastic, and I'm delighted with the film altogether. It was a great experience.
Germany has a great film culture. It's very important in the history of film overall. Of course, I'm glad to be able to bring this film here, and these people. Well, I work for them. It's very happy. I'm happy. We go to work every day. We make a little piece of film. Takes a lot of people. Takes a lot of collaboration. It takes a lot of agreement.
Knowing that,
and so every day is a process. We don't want to tell them what to expect. We want them just to experience the film and take away whatever they treasured from it. I wanted to do it like an 80-year-old man. I didn't want to do it like a 30-year-old man. I wanted the audience to accept the fact that Indiana Jones had grown older, and that he was no longer who he used to be, but he's somebody that is still that he's still going on adventures that are worthy of our interest.
Really glad that we had a chance to come here and film. This place is rich with history and passion and wonderful people. We had great help from everybody to help make this movie, and we're glad to be able to present it to you tonight.
I love being part of this family.
Sicily's the most beautiful place in the world to have adventures.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
It will be different from person to person. I think the greatest legacy is that I grew up with it. I was a teenager and it was obviously aimed for me. But then my parents watched it, and then my kids watched it, and now I have a grandkid, and I'm sure she's going to watch it as well. I think that legacy is very hard to beat, if something can just last for this long and touch people's hearts in the same way. A little bit. I mean, the red carpet, doing press for a film is like a fraction of what we do. The rest of the time is laundry, it's hard work, it's standing in the cold for 12 hours, and there is no umbrella because you can't get it out there. Then you put footsteps on the. So it's like it's a lot of hard work, but I love also that scene. I think it's and I know for sure that Harrison for him it's his favorite scene.
Support the other side, please. Block hard. Let's block hard. Let's block hard. Phoebe,
Okay, now look to the right, please. To your right. To your right side. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ford! Mr. Ford! Alista! And here, please. Over here. Herr Kretschmann, können wir bitte ein Foto machen? Herr Kretschmann.
Lächeln, genau. Jawohl.
Ja, stell sie mal in die Mitte.
Over here.
Side, to the left side. And one with both of you in the middle, please.
Both of you here, right?
So the fans waited 15 years for the next Indiana Jones. Why was it waiting? What was it?
It took us 15 years to come up with the right script.
As a very little kid, I walked like far away into the woods with my dog, with a knife in my pocket, expecting an adventure. So when that film came out, it was just like down my alley.
Hello, so nice to meet you. Your whole movie is about destiny.
Warte, die Beine hier!
Einmal noch weiter zu mir.
Warte, die Beine hier!
Bin ich noch drauf?
Und daneben?
Mr. Ford! Mr. Ford! Mr. Ford! Mr. Ford!
Das ist es.
For all of you, what do you think are the reasons for the enduring worldwide popularity of the character Indiana Jones and of the Indy franchise?
Who wants to go first? If we knew, we would be billionaires because we would copy that, right? It's got to be the combination of, obviously, Spielberg and Harrison. It's a combination is evergreen. Such a charming character. We identify with him. He's lying, he's stealing, he's funny, he's very human. And then it's just craftsmanship on a very, very high level.
I think it's also the adventure, the globe-trotting. You really get to see characters from all over the world represented here in unique and different ways. And I think, yeah, with one actor at the helm for 4 decades is pretty impressive.
Briefly describe each of your characters. No spoilers, please.
I'm probably the easiest and the most vacant character to describe. Just basically Balder's lapdog. And if there was a moral compass, I think he's probably the opposite of that.
And the name of your character would
Oh,
be?
Kleber. Excuse me. I played Kleber. And I gave him a first name, even though they didn't give it to me. Eli Kleber.
Eli.
Eli, yeah. You like that?
Yeah. I think mine was Christine. Play Agent Mason. She is a representative of the United States government.
And I play Jürgen Voller, and he is a scientist during the Second World War in Germany, and that should ring a bell.
What was it like for each of you to see Harrison Ford in his indie costume on set for the first time and then acting opposite of him?
I saw it in Sicily, and they would do this thing where the stunt double Mike would, he basically looks just like Harrison almost with the hat and everything, and they would send him in like little golf carts to get the public to like chase that, and then Harrison would kind of go off to the side. And I met him leaning up against a wall in Sicily, and it's like, oh my God, it's the man in the flesh.
And I met him before we started shooting. I was supposed to meet Harrison, but then out of the trailer, Indiana Jones stepped out, hat, whip, everything. So I haven't met Harrison yet. I'm waiting for it.
Actually, I did not meet him in his full indie regalia. My first time was actually on screen.
How was the experience of being directed by James Mangold in this film for each of you?
We're first timers. You've been there before.
He treats everyone definitely equal. No one is spared. Even Harrison to Eton. Jim has a very creative way of giving you an intimate direction about 100 feet away, and it's always pretty enjoyable to hear who's getting that direction.
Yeah, he's definitely passionate about the craft, passionate about what's happening on screen and even around it. Very attentive to detail, but also works in the minutia of our interpersonal relationships, the intimacy of these scenes, and really his rhetoric is very visceral to getting actors to the place that he needs them to be.
I agree. I mean, it's a big film to carry, so it takes a lot of energy, and he does have that from from early morning to late evening. It's just a big ball of energy that I love working in that manner, because he's very direct with the way he's guiding us.
How similar or different were each of your roles in the film from previous characters you've played?
Yeah, I feel like nothing has been repeated in this film. I feel like we're all probably bringing something different, and I don't feel like I feel like all the films that I'd done before gave me the tools or the arsenal to be able to go on this marathon. So it's almost like everything else was a great dress rehearsal for this character.
I've never been closely aligned with Nazis before.
Yeah.
That's different. I think something that would be similar would be, I guess, just looking really good.
Yeah, I've played characters who had ambitions on the world's behalf before, but never as a Nazi, so that will be the difference, I guess.
What would each of you say was your biggest challenge in making the film?
Well, yeah, I would say it's hard to align yourself with the ideology of that party. So that's a big thing to do, and it's a really big trick to play in the audience. And it can be quite simple of interchanging that with something else that you do genuinely care about. So for me, that was something hard to wrap my head around.
To get the tone of an Indiana Jones film is obviously the target here, and it's tricky because everybody knows what it is when they see it, but it's hard to put a finger on it. So I think we were just constantly trying to be aware whether we were inside the parameters of an Indiana Jones film. I did spend some time thinking about that. Yeah.
For me, I guess it's also just relinquishing the idea that you're in an Indiana Jones film and the gravity of that, the fact that it's going to be, the finale of this franchise, and not getting too overwhelmed by that fact, and just going to work and doing your job and staying grounded.
What is each of your fondest memory of making the film?
Well, like always,
It's PG.
getting new friends. This is a funny job because you have a very intense meeting with people for a while here, and then it's over. And this was no exception. We just met a fantastic bunch of new friends, and obviously seeing Harrison saying goodbye to it, the last scene he did was a very big moment.
Yeah, I would definitely say the camaraderie with the castmates, with the cast, and with the crew and creatives. Everyone, I think, had such a wonderful air of generosity and community, and that felt really special. And I loved working in London so much.
Yeah, being cooped up in a little tin can for months on end, you get to know people pretty well, and I think those are just some memories that you get to keep for the rest of your life.
And last one, why is it important for audiences to experience this film in a movie theater on a big screen?
Because it's a real movie. It is a real movie, which you need to see with other people on a big screen with sound. The old classic experience, because this is an old classic film.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best ways to really take in all the sacrifice and the work people have put into it. There wasn't a lot of green screen involved in the making of this, and so you're seeing real craft, and that is something that you should have to experience on a more magnified stage.
I agree. It's a roller coaster, and you gotta see that on a big screen, not on a small one.
What do you think are the reasons for the enduring worldwide popularity of the character of Indiana Jones and of the Indiana franchise?
Indiana Jones movies, I think, remain popular because they represent to the audiences, first of all, they had a profound impact when they first came out, so they're a part of the childhood of so many people. But the films have been shared generationally. Parents have shared these movies with their kids, and on and on. Why? Because they're charming, because they're filled with heart and character as well as action. They're imaginative. They build on the world we know and our history and take us to fantastic places, But more than anything, they're also love letters to classic filmmaking. And I think that has a kind of universal appeal.
Great, thank you. So secondly, in what ways is the film different from the previous Indie Adventures, and in what ways is it similar?
Well, in tone and style and where we're getting, we're trying to make a movie that certainly doesn't run away from what an Indiana Jones adventure should be. A kind of round-the-world adventure, a kind of screwball comedy, meaning gritty action, mystery, real, a nemesis for Indy who represents a threat to him or those he loves, and the mystery of the relic. These are all things that remain consistent across the movies, as well as, of course, Indy's character and many others who we will see again in this picture. But we're also dealing with something quite obvious the moment you see Harrison in the movie, which is just he's 42 years older than the guy who was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So part of the movie is also addressed to what it is to be a hero in Sunset and what it is to face the final chapters of your life with all your triumphs and tragedies behind you, trying to understand what last adventure awaits you.
Excellent. Why was it important to set the film in 1969?
Well, because mathematically that would put it would match the age we were playing Harrison and take us, given you had a timeline of movies and what age he was in the previous pictures. So you're tracking your movie star's age and your character's age. One way or another was going to put us in the late 60s or maybe early 70s. So I chose 1969 simply because our villain, who's modeled after Werner von Braun, who was a famous Nazi rocket scientist who came to this country and helped us with our Apollo program and our rocket program at NASA, is a character that I thought was very interesting to show, even from a historical basis, how some pretty brilliant Nazi minds had managed to make a home in America and a life for themselves and embed themselves in the system that reveals itself in our movie.
Great. Number 4, in each of the Indy films, he's on a quest for a powerful ancient artifact. What is the Dial of Destiny?
Well, the title refers to the Antikythera, which is a kind of, it's still a mysterious object believed to have been built, or many suspect built by Archimedes, that is this kind of heavily geared, almost clock-like mechanism that was found in a Roman ship deep below the sea. And there's been all these assumptions what this thing was built for and why Archimedes built it. And some of the assumptions are that it was some attempt to understand the way time itself works.
Wow. And finally, how important was it to you that John Williams composed the score for this film?
It was so important to me that John score this film because I think he's the voice of these films. I think his voice, when we talk about kind of golden age cinema and that these movies are kind of a love letter to classic movies, John represents in our modern world of synthesized scores and kind of pulsing scores, a kind of melodic, full-blown orchestral, old-school scoring style that is rapidly fading. And to me, the idea that I got to collaborate with this maestro at 90 years of age, writing well over 2 hours of music in pencil, to cut frame for frame with this movie is one of the most moving and inspiring collaborations I ever had in my life.
Perfecto. Okay. Thank you. It's only 4 people.
First question for you, Ethan. Tell us briefly about the character you play in the film.
Well, my character is called Teddy. He's a street kid from Tangier, and he knows the city a lot because he used to live there as a kid, even though he's still a kid, actually. And he's also a little thief, and he admires a lot Helena, and he's gonna be taken with Helena and Indiana Jones into a brand new adventure.
Second question. Before being cast in the film, were you a fan of the Indiana Jones films? And if so, what are some of your favorite scenes?
I was definitely a fan of Indiana Jones before being cast. And I think my favorite scenes from these movies were in The Last Crusade, the first scene where we see Sean Connery as Indy's father. I think it's really iconic, and it's real funny and cute the way Indy's he's becoming a child when he sees his father, and I love the relationship between both of them.
Perfect. Next question. What was it like for you to meet Harrison Ford for the first time?
Meeting Harrison Ford is really exciting, and it feels like you're in a dream. And Harrison is like Indiana Jones, like they're both the same person, and he's also a big child. Also, like he's always making jokes all the time, so you feel like really excited and happy to see Harrison, and at the same time you feel like you already know him, because he's Indiana Jones.
How did you like working with Phoebe?
I loved working with Phoebe. She's an amazing actress, and she's really funny, really clever, and she was very nice with me. She was a bit like a big sister during the shooting of the movie, and we had a real good relationship, and we also have a special handshake together. So yeah, we had so much fun on set with her.
Awesome. How was the experience of being directed by James Mangold for you?
James Mangold is an amazing director, and I love his movies. I love Logan. It's an amazing movie. I love Ford versus Ferrari. So I was really excited to work with him, and he's an amazing director, and he knows what he's doing, and he keeps telling you to do things. You don't really understand why till you see the actual footage, and when you watch it, you're like, whoa, it works. It actually works. And this guy is so clever. He's amazing. He's an amazing director.
And what was the most difficult thing for you in making the movie?
The most difficult thing, I don't really know, because I had so much fun, so I didn't really feel like it was difficult to shoot. But I think it was the tuk-tuk scene, because we shot it for a very long time, from the beginning to the end of the shooting. So I think I would choose the tuk-tuk scene, yeah.
And what was your favorite scene to film?
I think my favorite scene to shoot was the tuk-tuk scene, or maybe the plane scene, because both of them were action scenes and got a lot to do, and it's really fun, and I love shooting them.
Oh my god, just so cool. I love this city so much, and everyone here is so brilliant, so warm, and real true Indiana Jones fans, and there can't be anything better than being, than welcoming people to the opening of a movie who care about the franchise, and they really, really do, so it's great. It was just, the action elements were just so exciting, and we traveled to these wonderful places. Like every day was like a crazy new set, or an amazing build, or a tomb. So I felt emotional sort of 2 or 3 times a day, just looking at the artistry of what everyone's done. The scale of this movie is unbelievable, and it really is as much fun to make it as it is to watch it. Surprises, adventure, wild ideas, executed brilliantly, and Harrison Ford at his absolute best.